the things you don't want to forget when you're going on an airplane. Let's go. Hey y'all, and welcome. If you're new here, I'm Christy, the Gen X Gypsy, helping you to travel better so you can focus on creating unforgettable memories. Today's video was actually inspired by my daughter. She has just left to go and spend a year over in Japan for a student exchange program. And as I was helping her get ready for her trip, we realized that there were a few essentials missing from her airplane personal item bag. So I wanted to make sure that you guys know what you should always carry in your personal item when you are flying somewhere. Now, there are a few things that you really need more for a long haul flight, like a flight that's going to be over 5 hours, or you going overseas, or like she was, the whole day of flying, I think ended up being about 20 hours for her. So there are a few things that you definitely need for those longer haul flights that you might not need for a shorter 2 to 3, maybe even a 4-hour flight. And I will talk about those things a little bit more towards the end of the video. But the first part of the video, I'm going to go over the little things that you definitely want to have with you in your seat when you are on that airplane. But first, I want to share with you the backpack that I just got and I can't wait to start using. This is going to be my new personal item backpack. If you've followed me for a while, you've seen my colorful one that I do like, but it's got a few things that are missing on it that this new backpack definitely has, and is probably a little more durable than the one that I have been using through the years. So it is from Level 8, and they're not sponsoring this video, but they did give me a 10% off coupon for my viewers. If you guys want to order it, I have the link below in the description. I'm not really going to talk about this much in this video, but I will be doing a future video where I show you exactly how I pack my personal item when I go on a trip. But today I just thought I would share with you that I do have a new one. It is pretty awesome. A couple of the features that I really am looking forward to having on my future travels are these airflow back pad areas. So when you're wearing it against your back, it kind of has a little bit of indentation here. So the padding goes against your back, and then there's room for the air to flow. So, you know, us menopausal women, when we have a hot flash, the sweat isn't just like building between the backpack and your bag. I also like that it does have a trolley strap right down here at the bottom. You can use that obviously to put over the handle of your carry-on bag so that it's easier to haul it through the airport. It is super sturdy. It has tons of pockets, and another awesome thing about it is that it opens all the way around the back, where you're going to put your computer in here and then other things through here. Anyway, like I said, I will be doing more about this in a future video, but I just wanted to share with you that this is going to be my new personal item bag going forward. Now let's get to the items that you should never forget when you're flying in an airplane. I thought it'd be a little easier for you to see what I'm talking about and for me to basically do this video if I laid everything out on the table and then go through each item or category of items individually. Let's get started with those little things that you need on every flight, no matter how short it might be. First one we're going to talk about is technology. Charging your phone is super important when you are traveling, especially if you tend to use your phone for your onboard entertainment. Say you've downloaded movies off of Netflix or whatever you download your movies from, or you've got some podcasts you want to listen to, or you're watching YouTube videos. Whatever you're doing when you're flying, it uses your phone battery, right? So you want a way to charge it. I always carry a portable charger, and I really like this one. I can't even remember the name of the company. It's called My Charge. The great thing about this is each end has a charging port that fits either a USB-C or a iPhone Lightning charger. I think that's what it's called. Each end has one of those, so you don't have to carry a separate cable to use this one. Now, of course, if you are still have things that you have to charge with I can't remember the micro USB, I think is what the one is like I need to charge my Kindle with. Obviously, this wouldn't work for that because it doesn't have an external USB port. But I don't know about you, but I tend to charge up my Kindle before I go on a trip, and the charge of my Kindle lasts for like 4 or 5 days. So I'm not worried about that when I'm flying so much. If I was, I would bring a portable charger that had the ports. It's up to you. Whatever you need to have with you to charge your electronics, then make sure you have that with you. I also like to bring a charging cable and a little charging block, basically for my phone, right? Because that's the main thing that I'm worried about losing charge on. And a lot of the airplanes now do have charging areas where you don't even need the charging block. You can just plug your cable right in and charge from that under the seat area. So it is something that I like to have with me just in case. It's also convenient to have if you get stuck in an airport because of a delay or a really long layover and you want to be able to charge up using one of the outlets that's in the gate area or in the airport. My second technology thing that I always travel with is my Kindle. Yeah, this cover for my Kindle is very worn. It's quite a few years old. It's time for me to replace it. I think I said that in a video like about a year ago that I needed to replace it. Still haven't gotten it replaced. I am a reader when I get on the plane. I rarely download movies or anything to my phone to watch when I'm flying. Now, if I'm in an airplane that does have the entertainment system built into the seat, then sometimes I'll watch those movies. But for the most part, I really like to just get a good book downloaded to my Kindle, maybe 2, depending on how long the flight is or how long the trip's going to be. I like to get in my window seat and kind of be in like a little bubble, I guess is the best way to put it. My little airplane bubble with my book and all the other things that I'm going to talk about, and just get lost in another world reading. It makes the time go by so much faster for me. I don't know, for some reason it just keeps me more entertained and more focused if I'm reading a book. So my Kindle goes on every flight with me. Moving on, next, sticking with technology, we're going to talk about headphones. I've talked about these little guys. They're like a mini, very inexpensive AirPod kind of set of headphones that I've now had for over 2 years. I do use these on a daily basis. They've worked great. They go with me on every flight. I've used them to hook up to my MacBook so that I can edit videos when I'm flying. And I have used them to listen to podcasts when I'm walking around through airports if I have a lot of time and I need to get my steps in for the day. I will put these on and just listen to a podcast and walk around. By the way, if you're looking for some podcasts to listen to, you're a podcast kind of person, I will share like my top 3 that I've been listening to lately that you might enjoy too. And while we're on the headphones, I also like to bring an old-fashioned pair. Old-fashioned, I mean, they're not that old-fashioned, but a pair that can plug in to the outlet on the airplane, because sometimes they do have the entertainment systems, like I said, in the back of the seat in front of you, and they won't hook up to Bluetooth. And you want to have a set that has the little connector here that you can just plug into the hole, whatever it's called, so that you can watch those movies or play games. So I do like to throw these in just in case. And you know, these days I never know when I get on the plane what sort of entertainment system is going to be on that plane, because even if I've looked and it's told me there's this certain type of plane that I'm going to be flying on, a lot of times those planes get switched around and you might end up with a plane that does have an entertainment system or does not have an entertainment system. So better safe than sorry. Next, let's talk about sanitizing. Always carry some sort of Clorox wipes with you. You can pull some out of a bigger container and put them in a Ziploc bag. I just like to get the travel packs because it just makes it so much easier. But I have been traveling with these and using them in the plane long before we had our situation with COVID. Grab a pack of these and throw them in your backpack. They don't take up very much room. I use them as soon as I get on the plane. I wipe down everything that my body might be touching. The headrest, the armrest, the tray, all of the seat back in front of me. Yeah, just clean everything, because I'm not a super worrier about viruses and such, but I don't want to get sick when I'm going on vacation, so I like to take the extra precaution. Along those lines, although this is not really something to do with sanitizing, and I apologize for how beat up this pack is, but I couldn't find a newer pack of Kleenex. I always carry Kleenex with me in the plane. That recirculating air, for whatever reason, just starts to make my nose drip. So I want to have Kleenex with me, because it might be a while before the flight attendants make their way down and I can ask for like a napkin or something. So Kleenex is another must-have when you are flying. Now, let's talk about hydration, because you know how dehydrating flying can be, right? So you have to make sure your body stays hydrated. And I'm not just talking about drinking water here, although that is a big part of it. So we're going to talk about what I bring for hydrating my inside and for hydrating some parts of me on the outside. A water bottle is a must when you are traveling by air, especially now that almost all the airports have water bottle filling stations. I just got this new one from Contigo because they've got some beautiful colors. Isn't this gorgeous? I love this color. Mine just got so beat up over the summer. I don't know why. I must have dropped it a few times. I just got this new one. It is 24 ounce, so it's a little on the big side, but I'll put links to all of these things in the description below, so if you want to go check it out. I do have an Amazon affiliate, so I do make a little bit of money if you go through my link to purchase something, so I appreciate it. Thank you. The other water bottle that I like to carry with me is a foldable collapsible water bottle. This one by Vapor has been really great to use. I took this to Arizona and it was awesome to have. This is like, I'll put my electrolytes in here and drink them because it's a little bit smaller. It folds up really small, so if I'm going somewhere and I just want to have like my purse with me, this fits in nicely and it allows me to continue drinking water through the day. But I want to have one of these on the plane with me, full of water, before I get on the plane. Now remember, you can't go through TSA security with water in either of these. You can have ice as long as there's no condensation inside the bottle with the ice, but you have to get rid of the condensation somewhere. So I don't bother. I mean, I'll just drink the temperature water of whatever I get out of the water fountain. But have one of these so that you can stay hydrated. Fill it up before you get on the plane, and then you don't have to wait for the flight attendants to come around and give you water. And drink it. You may not feel like you're getting dehydrated when you're flying, but I can promise you, you are. Now, once you've hydrated yourself from the inside, let's talk about some places on the outside that you might want to keep hydrated as well. The first one is eye drops. My eyes get so red and itchy. Well, they kind of just get red and itchy these days anyway. And I think, again, that has to do with menopause and, you know, everything in our body starts to dry up, right? Having some eye drops with me that I can put on during the flight, especially if the flight is over like 2 or 3 hours, is just really nice, and it helps moisten those eyes. These Sustain hydration drops are really, really nice. They feel like a kind of like a silky water feel when they go in your eyes. They're different than any other eye drops I've used before. They feel very luxurious for some reason. Again, I'll have these linked below if you're curious about trying them out. Now, this next hydration item I actually use for my nose, because like everything else in your body that gets dry when you're flying, you tend to get a little dry in your nose. Now, before anybody starts yelling at me in the comments, I do realize that Neosporin does not kill viruses, but it might be able to help you prevent from getting a virus. So you can use some Neosporin and just put it like a little bit on the inside of each of your nostrils. And what happens is it keeps your nostrils moist and it kind of builds up a barrier. So then the virus doesn't have a way to get into your nose and embed itself and then make you sick. You can also do the same thing with Vaseline. You could bring like a little container of Vaseline. I just like this. It's a nice little convenient bottle tube. It's actually a tube that you can bring with you. Now, these two items, the eye drops and the Neosporin, do have to go in your liquids bag. You can put them in the liquids bag, get through TSA security, and then you can remove them from that bag and put them somewhere in your backpack. That is easier for you to get to when you're in the airplane. The next hydration is your lips. So we've done your eyes, your nose, and now we're down to your lips because they get dry too. And there's nothing worse than dry, flaky lips when you get somewhere on vacation. These are my two favorites currently. This Blistex Deep Renewal, I think it came with like a set of 3 that were all different types of moisturizing chapsticks, lip balms, whatever you want to call them. And then this one is like Vaseline's Cocoa Butter. And I think I might have gotten this one at the dollar store. Both of these, feel so nice on my lips. They're just super smooth. They feel uber moisturizing. When I get off the plane, my lips just feel amazing. And I don't have, flaky lipstick when I get done. My last item that I take with me on all of my flights, regardless of whether they're long or short, is a pair of fuzzy socks, because you never know how cold those planes are going to be. So I'm typically dressed in layers, but for the most part, I tend to wear shoes that I'm not wearing thick socks with, or I'm actually kind of barefoot, like my Hey Dudes. I just, slide those on, and I don't have any socks on with those, or occasionally I'll wear sandals on the airplane, but not very often. I do bring a pair of fuzzy socks to help keep my feet warm. I can kick off my shoes. I put these on for however long the flight is, and it's kind of like I have a pair of house shoes on while I'm flying. So those are the items that I take for every flight, whether it's an hour or 10 hours. Y'all, I was sitting here eating my dinner and I realized that when I was filming all of the stuff about what you need to bring in the plane with you earlier, I forgot one of the most important things, and that is snacks. Especially these days with the airplane food being ridiculously expensive and sometimes just not available at all, and the airports all having limited access to foods. And especially if you're flying long haul flights, you want to make sure you have some snacks with you. I typically bring like some nuts, and I try to bring like apples and carrots, but I honestly never eat the healthy stuff. So I try to bring some nuts, maybe a Kind bar, something that won't go bad if it sits in the airport for like 5 hours before you eat it. Anyway, just wanted to make sure that I added that into this video. So snacks, you definitely need to have, and I would say one of the things you definitely need to have no matter how long your flight is. Now we're going to move on to the items that you want to have with you when you are flying a long haul flight, a red-eye flight, a flight that's over 4 hours, perhaps that you're going to try to catch a few Z's on or something. These are the items you want to have with you for those long flights. The first is something that I've just recently started traveling with, and I can't tell you how helpful it was getting some sleep on this last red eye that I was on. Actually, 2 red eyes. If you saw my zombie red eye video, then you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't had a chance to see that one yet, I will have it linked below. It is an eye mask. This thing was a game changer. I wore this on both the flight from Alaska to Oregon, which was from like 2 o'clock in the morning until 6 o'clock in the morning. And I wore it on the red eye that I had from Oregon back to North Carolina. Both times, this helped me get so much more sleep than I have been known to get sleep for, or at least for a longer period of time. I got more restful sleep because once I put this on, I didn't get any of that light filtering. The flight attendants come through and things are happening. This blocked all of that out, so it wasn't filtering in my eyes and making me wake up like every 15 or 20 minutes. This one is lovely because it does have these cutouts. So if you have longer eyelashes like I do, you don't feel like your eyelashes are constantly hitting on the back of the eye mask. And this padding is actually cooling, so it doesn't get hot on your face. Again, us menopausal ladies, we need to look for those cooling elements anytime we can, right? I love this thing, and I don't think it was very expensive. I want to say $13 maybe, and it total game changer for me. Total game changer. The next thing you need is a pillow. Now I have 3 different options out here. I don't carry 3 pillows with me when I fly. I just wanted to show you, the different varieties that are available. Now this is probably the traditional airplane pillow. You've seen this around. People wear it like this, or they wear it like this, or, however, this just doesn't work for me. And I think most people would agree it doesn't really work. About the only way this does work is if you have a window seat and you can kind of set it up against the wall and you can rest your head on there. Otherwise, your head is still kind of at a weird angle. So don't particularly like this one. I wouldn't necessarily encourage you to get it, but if it's all you have, you don't need to go out and spend money. Like I said, you can kind of mush it up and put it up against the window and just sleep like that, which works. The next one is the pillow that I showed in my zombie video that my friend got for me. And it is actually a stuffable pillowcase that comes in its own bag. So it's really small and portable. And I stuffed this with a sweatshirt, and that's what I used for my pillow because I did have a window seat. So again, it makes it a little bit easier to use this because I could just put it up against the wall and use that. Now, if you don't have a window seat that you can prop a pillow up against, the Turtle is by far my favorite option for a pillow to use on the plane. And it is, I've shown this before in videos, they have an upgraded version that I'm looking into possibly getting that's a little more padded, and it gives you a couple of adjustment options. But for this, it's just you put it here, you wrap the scarf, you wrap the scarf around your neck, and then it just props up your head. So whether or not you have a window seat or not, you still have the ability to have your neck propped up and you're not doing like, a weird thing with your neck. And your body's gonna move around anyway, and it's gonna be weird, and sleeping on a plane is never comfortable, but at least this can help you be a little more comfortable and possibly get you a little more sleep. And finally, a blanket. You definitely need a blanket when you are traveling on long haul flights. I, again, have a couple of different options. Well, I've got 3 different options here that you could use. My favorite and my go-to, even though I've gotten a couple of other things to try out, this is still my favorite. It is pretty expensive. This is like about 90 bucks. This is a little thermo liner. It's a very thin microfiber, basically sleeping bag liner. So it's like a tube, and you can just slide your body into it and pull it up, and it keeps you warm all the way around. Still my favorite. Love this thing. I pretty much take this on every flight just in case it does get cold and I want to have a blanket on. It packs down so tiny, so it fits really well. But some other options for you. This is a blanket that you just comes in its own little storage bag that you can, has a carabiner here so you can carry it on your backpack, but it's separate from its container, which is, I have mixed feelings about that. And it's just a nice micro fleece blanket. It's not super big, but it does keep you warm. And this is much more reasonable. I can't remember the price off the top of my head, but I think it's under $20. So a much more reasonable option, a little bit bigger than the other one. But again, with the carabiner, you can attach that to the back of your backpack and carry it on the outside if you want to do that. And the last option is something if you really don't want to take up space with another item, but you want to use something that maybe you're going to be able to use on your trip as well and not just in the airplane, is to bring a Turkish towel to use as your blanket. These Turkish towels, they go with me everywhere. I pack one no matter where I'm going. I don't necessarily have it in my personal item if I have my blanket that I'm bringing with me, but if I didn't want to carry that blanket, I would put this in my personal item, and then I have it to use as a towel wherever I'm going, whether I need that as a beach towel or perhaps a bath towel, depending on, the places that you go. But I do have a couple of bonus items that would be super helpful to have in your personal item bag with you when you're on the plane. And those are a really good set of earplugs, because babies do cry sometimes and people get loud, and some breath mints. Now these are like no brand. They're from an actual title company from back when I was doing real estate. I just grab mints wherever I can, and I like how tiny the little package is. So breath mints and some earplugs. And then finally, the last bonus item is, for those of us who need them, an extra pair of reading glasses. Because sometimes you forget to put them in your purse, or you've packed your purse away and you don't have that in your personal item. Having an extra set of glasses is always really nice, and I'm pretty sure these came from the dollar store too. What are your non-negotiable items that you never travel without? Let me know in the comments below. You might introduce the community and myself to something we've never even thought about. If you are looking for ways to pack carry-on only when you travel, check out this video next. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.